Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. It's Michael from grtraining.com. Please let me know if you can hear me. Hello, Claire. How are you? Hi, Carol. Okay. Are you ready? Let's just hold a few more minutes. Thank you very much. Okay. We've got few people today, which is good. Sorry for my absence. This is a session number, I don't know, I think number 6. But I've been a little ill for the last, week or two. I'm still actually not perfectly well, as you can hear, but should be fine. Should be fine. So today I'm gonna do a little different format. So no more death by PowerPoint. So don't worry. I'm not gonna kill you today by the PowerPoint. I have literally 10 slides. So this is gonna be live training, a workshop. So we're gonna concentrate on some really cool stuff. And yes, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So I actually done a few research, and I've been even asking my customers. I've been asking my my subscribers, and looks like the Agile Scrum is very hot topic. So I'm glad, because it's actually my favorite. But obviously, Scrum is not just an agile methodology. There is many subsets. So please don't forget about Kanban. And I'm planning actually in the next week or two to show a little bit more how to manage Kanban and Scrum using one single board. And even there is such terminology called Scrumban. So let's wait just maybe a few more minutes and we can start. So it's going to be a lot of information. I also like to share my best practices. So we're going to learn a few new tricks. And for this presentation, I am going to use Jira self-hosted. But I'm just going to explain a little bit about the hosting. I'm always trying to tell the differences. So I don't really know what is your Jira version, but I'm hoping it's the 7. So, and also really exciting news. I'm not sure if you heard, but recently, Trello is owned by Atlassian. So I've read today really interesting story. They planning to merge it together somehow. So I'm not using actually myself Trello. Well, sometimes it's not that bad, but the big news is, of course, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but they're gonna introduce JQL to Trello. So looks like you can import, you can integrate some stuff with Jira right now. So how cool is that? Okay, so I don't have any fancy documentation today in PowerPoint, in Word. As you can hear in front of me, pen and paper today, old-fashioned. Let's do the pen and paper. So let's just maybe wait 2 more minutes, because I can see more people are coming. So welcome everyone. We have 2 questions, no, 1 question actually, but please don't worry about the questions. I'm going to answer them by the end of this masterclass. All right, so I'm going to just wait 1 more minute. My tea is next to me. My son is sleeping, which is good. All right. So looks like we've got a nearly full house tonight. That's good. So thank you very much for your dedication. Okay, I think we're ready to start. Okay, so one more time, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for attending to this masterclass. And I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna disable chat for a while, so it's not gonna distract anyone, and I'm gonna answer your question by the end of this webinar. Okay, this masterclass. I'm gonna use this word masterclass today. Okay, so I'm gonna disable the chat, and officially we can start. So I'm gonna switch into my presentation mode. Okay. So, all right. Thank you. We're gonna learn today about Scrum methodology. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Michael, and I've been using and basically training people using Jira, Confluence, Service Desk, Portfolio, and a few other bits for the last few years. And I'm using Jira basically every day in my own company. I can't really imagine live without Jira myself. So first of all, the most important, please watch out for the distractions. If you can, of course, close the Skype, put your mobile phone on silence, and of course, if you can grab pen and paper. Obviously, if you close Facebook and Twitter, will be even better. So I am also, because people keep asking about recordings. Yes, I'm gonna provide you a recording tomorrow. So it's gonna be probably on YouTube. So this webinar is gonna take this masterclass. I'm keep actually using this webinar, but masterclass is live and it's gonna take, I think, about 60 to 90 minutes, including Q&A session. So so far we've got only one question. Maybe I can answer a few more. So if you think, please maybe write it down and I can answer them by the end of this masterclass. All right, so let's move on. We're going to talk about Scrum methodology. Today, this is our absolutely number one subject. So we're not going to talk about anything else, maybe a little bit about Kanban. Oh, by the way, as you can see, sorry for that. The screen is from Kanban, but doesn't matter really. Okay, so before we start, just really, because a lot of people got question how to really start with hosting. How if you never use Jira before, or it gets basically you don't know how to start, or sometimes people using Jira inside the company, or there is a corporate, of course, version of Jira, and they want to improve the knowledge how to cheaply using Jira at home or even in your office. And the answer is, I'm not going to go through everything, but cloud. Please go to the cloud. I'm going to show you how to actually quickly, if you go to Atlassian website, you can deploy your Jira below 15 minutes. So, and it's cheap, it's just $10, so basically I'm going to quickly show you. Just go over here, products, go to software, watch the video, of course, try it free. And here is the question. So if you like Confluence, trying Confluence, why not $20? But $10 a month, it's great price. Just fill up whole details. They're not even ask you, Atlassian is not going to even ask you for the car details. For first 14 days is absolutely free. I'm not going to do it, but this is how you can actually do it. Of course, there is an other version, other method you can do, self-hosted, but we are not going to talk about it today. So let's go for a very quick compare, how to use Scrum, what's the Scrum, what's the version, what's the Kanban. So mainly, basically, I'm going to go back to this. It's like this. Scrum works very, very good, very well for developers, but not only. It's not only just like people keep thinking, I'm not a developer, I cannot use Scrum. No, that's not the point. This is not the case. Generally speaking, Scrum is when we have to deal with deadlines. So if you part of the even HR, you're working with some project where deadlines are important. Why not? Absolutely yes. But of course, definitely developers for development team works the best. Kanban it works in a different way. So Kanban doesn't really care about deadlines that much. Is about the quantity of resolved tickets. So I'm not gonna talk to you through the whole agile maze, but please be aware, because very often people thinking, if we don't have an order in the company, or we want to do in the right way, so yes, let's go and do agile. But no, it's basically, please remember, agile is not a silver bullet, so it's not gonna solve every single problem. And also, I don't know why very often people think if I'm using agile, I don't have to have any documentation. Absolutely wrong. And on top of it, there is a Confluence, of course. Confluence is great, actually married with the Jira. I think I'm planning Jira Confluence training in about 2-3 weeks, so please just check my schedule. But generally speaking, I have to tell you that because agile is not the answer to all the questions. All right, so yeah, there is some, but of course there are some great advantages of using agile, like increasing revenue, clearability, reports, visibility, cost control, stuff like this. But to me personally, working with agile is more fun. So yeah, as I told you, I think it's just duplicated for somehow. So basically, Scrum is definitely for developers. Okay, so let's do a demo. So as I told you, we're gonna just fly through our presentations, and now let's do the workshop. Okay, so in this presentation, I'm gonna switch right here into my Jira board. I am using self-hosted version, which is, as you can see, 7.3. And I'm going to show you a few tricks and few actually bits how to start with Scrum very fast. So at this stage, I am assuming you don't have much experience with Scrum. So I'm going to show you how to create a demo project with a sample data. I'm also going to show you how to set the issue types. We're going to talk about workflows, board configuration, planning sprints, how just to plan the sprint. And I'm going to also show you reports. So maybe very simple reports. And I'm going to show you a little bit more advanced stuff, how to, for instance, pull the reports for your customers, because this is quite interesting stuff. I've been actually doing training last week in Manchester, and they saying, okay, we like the reports from Jira, but how to provide reports to the customers so they don't have access to, when they don't have access to Jira? That was really interesting question. Very good question. And I think it is quite important to provide such results. I'm going to show you how to do it. So basically, we're going to talk, of course, about filters. And I'm going to show you how to create and configure, if we got enough time, because this is so much actually knowledge, how to configure a dashboard, especially dashboard for Scrum teams, for the Scrum Master. Because as you can see, I cleared up completely my dashboard. This is a very standard dashboard, and we're going to prepare especially one for Scrum team. All right, so you ready? Let's start actually working on the project. So before actually, I'm always advising, before you actually start working, or you brand new to Jira, or even if you know about Jira, not everything, but a lot, I'm advising very often to create a demo project with a sample data. It is really cool thing. well, especially for people who actually don't know how that methodology works, how to move stuff inside the Jira. So this is actually really great starting point, and I'm gonna show you how to do this. So I am also assuming you have the admin rights. So in this case, I'm the super admin, so I can do whatever I want. I can create, remove stuff. I've got no limitations. I'm using the administrator password in this case. Okay, so let's create our first sample, demo project with a sample data. How to do this? Very simple. Move the mouse into the projects and go to create project. Okay, and now don't do anything from this menu. We're gonna select a create sample data from the bar into the bottom of this screen. So let's hit that button. And of course, we're gonna create Scrum development. So let's hit next and the name. So before, I'm gonna give you a quick tip. The best is to choose the right project name from the beginning. Why? Very often I can see people creating something like, project one. What the hell is project one? Well, right now you can think whatever it is, I'm going to do it like this. But if you start actually creating 20, 30 projects, believe me, in just a few days, you're not going to know what the hell is the project number one. So it is really important to name it from the beginning. Of course, you can change the name later, but why? Just for that reason, now I'm going to create it right from the first place. So I'm going to say my Scrum project. Okay. And of course, name is unique, so you cannot have two identical names in the Jira regarding project. Key is also unique. This is our identification thing, and it's gonna use for ticket number, issue numbers, and in the URL. So yeah, I have to say the key is fine. I'm gonna go and submit. All right, it's going straight through the report. And ta-da! This is our first demo. So look at this. Jira actually created about I think about 20 tickets, 20 demo tickets. And also Jira create first sprint. So we've got our first sprint, and we also got our few tickets. And this is why I'm advising, to start, especially if you never done the work with Jira, to basically create the sample data. Okay, this is really good, but don't worry, I'm going to show you in just a few more minutes, we're going to create a blank project. So we can start from absolutely scratch. Okay, have a sip of tea. Okay, so now we've got our first project, and what to do first? So really, don't worry at the beginning about backlog, don't worry about sprint. I will probably start from configuring the board and configuring the workflow. So basically, this is where probably you're gonna spend most of the time, because workflows, they are super important, and they can make life much easier if they are done in the right way. Okay, so just to let you know, in this case, for this presentation purpose, I'm only going to show you a simplified workflow. What does it mean? Let me explain you. So, okay, to change the workflow, move to the board, select configure, and move to the columns. So this is the visualization of the workflow in our Scrum board, in our project, which is actually assigned to Agile Scrum. And as you can see, we've got only 3 columns, right? So, but let me just show you something more interesting. If we go back to the board and select the ticket, well, issue, sorry, and in the status, next to the status, we've got this link which is saying view workflow. If I'm gonna click on this link, you're gonna preview. It's gonna actually go to the full screen mode. So I'm gonna click it again. It's just a bit slow. Okay, I'm gonna refresh it. Sorry for that. Maybe just my internet is a little bit slow today. Doesn't want to work. Okay, that's absolutely fine because I've got a backup plan. I'm going to use Jira Cloud. So sorry for that. You know, that could happen. So I'm going to log on to the Jira in the cloud because I really want to show you how to preview the workflow. It is very, very important operation. So sorry for that. I've got a little bit different dashboard configure for this, but let's just repeat the whole operation. So I'm going to go to the projects, create project. I'm going to select create sample data. Again, Scrum software development, and I call it my first Scrum project, which the key is going to be very similar. I don't want to link it to HipChat. I'm going to hit submit. Okay, Jira in the cloud sometimes is very fast, sometimes is a little bit slower, but that's absolutely fine. I'm quite surprised, you know, we've got a small issue with viewing the workflow today in self-hosted version because I've been actually using it yesterday and was working without any problems. But you know, never mind, that can happen. Okay. So what's happened here? Projects. Seems to be some problem with Atlassian today. So I am the administrator. Okay. So it looks like there is a small problem with Atlassian. Very sorry for that, but this is actually live presentation, so sometimes I cannot predict such things. But okay, looks like we have to deal with this in a little different. So let me just check something. I'm gonna switch into a different browser. Maybe it is a problem just with the Firefox. So please stay tuned. I'm gonna just check if Jira works better in a different browser. I'm gonna switch to Chrome. Okay, doesn't work in Chrome too, but okay, I think we can continue, because generally speaking, I've got also no idea why my cloud version doesn't work. Well, it can happen, but anyway, if you basically click into that view workflow, and if that screen, of course, it works fine, you're gonna see a visualization of the workflow. And that visualization is basically corresponding to our simplify workflow. So you're going to see 3 elements, which at this stage we've got to do, in progress, and done. So that is really simplify workflow. So when I'm going to go back to our board setting, to backlog, and go back to the sprint configuration. So basically, you're going to see those 3 elements, and this is the simplify workflow. Well, I have to say I'm really disappointed, because I was hoping I can show you the transitions. And simplify workflow, what does it mean? Basically, it's mean I can create a new ticket and move them across to many statuses. So nothing is really stopping me to move the issue from to do to even done at the same time. But very often, when we're creating a new workflow, the simplify is not good enough. So how to actually change it? Very, very, very simple. And this is the proof. I'm using simplify workflow. Just start adding new columns and statuses. So it's just, let's do something like a real life example. I'm going to do testing, and the state is going to be in progress. Let's add another column, something like blocked. And what else? Maybe, okay. Oh, this is actually quite interesting, because I can see, blocked is, generally speaking, quite a big status, and it could be something like feedback, or waiting for feedback from customer, or could be waiting for feedback from QA team. So you can have multiple statuses, and of course, Jira is supporting multiple statuses, so we can have a one column, but multiple statuses at the same time. And that's what I'm going to do it right now. So let's create maybe feedback. It's right here. And I'm going to say QA def. All right, def is actually not QA, but let's say def ready. Yeah. And let's add another status. Let's see, it's going to be customer. Okay. Now the statuses are basically drag and drop. So yeah, I have to say blocked is going to be a feedback. Dev ready, yeah, it's going to be in progress. And waiting for a customer, again, it is blocked. However, dev ready, maybe it's a testing, so why not? Why not? But this is really the whole beauty and why I like simplify workflow. All right, so we've got actually pre-configured our board. So let's see how this is going to look now. Okay, but please don't forget, in Scrum methodology, you're not going to see the first board at the backlog. We need to move to the active sprints. And we've got a few new columns right here. So now I can move them. And as you can see, if it's blocked, I can decide which sub status is going to be assigned. All right. So yeah, we think we're doing really well. We configured our workflow. So I think this is a really good time to talk about sprints in Scrum, because I'm not going to actually explain you the whole methodology, the whole purpose, but sprints in Scrum is basically, what's the main purpose really of the sprint, is to motivate your team. And I can give you my best practices, because very often people asking me, what is the ideal time frame for sprint? So how long should take ideal sprint? And well, regarding agile methodology, it looks like it's 30 days, but honestly, this is way too long. Way too long. So for that reason, I'm always advising to try something between 5 to 10 working days, so up to 2 weeks. And in my opinion, that 2-week sprint works very good. But there's no such thing like wrong or right answer, because it can be just a 3 days sprint. It can be a 30 days sprint. However, when I actually seen last time a 30-day sprint, the burn down chart, because we're going to talk about the burn down chart, looks quite funny. The first actually 15, sometimes 16 days is absolutely flat, and people are not closing, and the tickets, there is not that effective work. So that's why I'm always advising to experiments. Try maybe first time, try maybe 2 weeks. If it's a little bit too long, change it. Try maybe 1 week. And sprints can be, you don't need to organize every time the same length of the sprint, so you can actually change that. Okay, so because we've got a demo project and with the sample data, so Jira actually created for us the first sprint, but I would like to show you how to start working from absolutely scratch. So in this, so that's why I am going to create very blank project. So there will be no issues, no sprints, and nothing. So you're going to do it from scratch. Let's do it. So again, I'm going to go for the create project and select create software. So Scrum software development. And here is a little bit more interesting question, because we're going to talk in the next few minutes about issue types and workflow. Workflows, actually, we've been covering the workflows, but let's do it. So I'm going to do Scrum. Why not? Yes, I'm the project leader, and let's do submit. Excellent. So this is really cool. We don't have any issues, and we don't have any sprints. So again, probably I will go back first to the configure board, go to the columns, add column. Maybe not feedback, but ready. To make it more interesting, go back to the project, and I'm going to create first 2 blank issues. So I'm going to hit the C button. Oh, it's not working, but okay, let's do like this. And yes, it's going to be a story. Logo problem. And I'm going to create number 2, some text, and just hit the create. Okay, so our backlog looks like this. And we're going to jump just in a minute, because I would like to show you how to start from scratch. So we've got only 2 tickets, 2 issues. And now let's talk about the planning of the sprint. So this is the button where we can create new sprint. And as I told you, well, this didn't start. No, I didn't tell you that, but you can plan mini sprints. So it's quite a good practice. You don't really need to create one sprint and wait or just start adding the stuff. But I'm often advising, well, don't go too crazy. Do not create like 20 or 30, but there's no limits on that. So very often, if you're planning 2 week sprint, I will advise to go for like maybe 2, 3. It sounds good, and now I can start adding my stuff to the sprints. Because we're using actually sample data, I would like to show you how to start the new sprint from scratch. And this is the button, because when I switch to my before one, so as you can see, that button is not active. Why? Because the first sprint is ongoing. So I've created the first sample when actually Jira created the sample data. As you can see, the date is 2nd February, and the suit finished by the 16th. And that button is not active. Why? Okay, the answer is very simple, because by the default, you can have only one sprint ongoing in Jira by the default. However, I've got a good news for you. That's been changed, and there is a setting issue. We can go to the global, I think it's a global configuration. And right now in Jira, we can have multiple open sprints at the same time. They call it parallel mode. So this is actually one of my answer to your question, because someone actually asked me a question about it. So we're going to come back to that early. All right. So, but I'm going to move back to the blank project, and that button is actually active right now. So I'm going to hit the button, and right now Jira is asking me for the name, and that's the way where I can decide how long should be the sprint. So yeah, I'm going to start with 1 week. Okay, and when I'm going to hit start, Jira automatically move us into the second option, where we can progressing with our work. And this is where we're going to move that tickets across the board. Okay, so sorry for the confusion, but I just want to show you how to start a blank sprint. So I'm going to move back to a project which contains a little bit more information. We've got a sample data. Okay, and now, as you can see, we can progressing our work, which is moving from left to the right hand side. So it's like a Kanban, really. And on top of it, there is information. There is still 4 days remaining, and I can move and resolve. So basically now is the Scrum Master. Have to keep eye on the tickets and moving the tickets, resolve them. So we basically have to do everything what we can to resolve as many issues as we can. Okay, so I am gonna resolve maybe not all of them, because this is quite interesting example. Oh, and by the way, there was a question on my last webinar about moving this stuff. So yes, so this is actually the simplify workflow. What does it mean, the simplify? So it means we can take that issue and drag it from any status to any. So there is nothing what can stop us. However, please be aware, simplify workflow is not always the best. Yeah, especially if you've got a little bit more complex processes. Like, for instance, there is a QA, there is a staging, there is production, because this one is a very, very, very simplified workflow. So in this case, it's going to work for us without any problems. However, if we've got a QA team and if we've got a dev team, it's like a large, really large team, I don't think it's going to be that good idea to move, especially something which is ready to dev, and move it to a production. So there is a way in Jira to basically stop it. but it's beyond this, actually, beyond this presentation, beyond this webinar. I'm only going to show you briefly. It is a little bit more complex, and we have to basically go to the workflows. I'm going to say admin, and please work if I'm going to switch to. Yes, it works again. That was what I was actually want to show you. Thank you, Jira. So yeah, so as you can see, this is actually the visualization of the workflow. And the transition is saying all to all. So if we, for instance, got a QA team, and if the stuff cannot be just move straight away from to do through the QA to the production, we have to tell Jira to change the transitions. So that's how it works. But this is actually simplified workflow. All right. So I'm going to move back to the board. And I'm going to go to the active sprints because it's still a lot of stuff on my list. And okay, another thing is I have a permission. I have a right permission to do this. But yes, it is possible to configure Jira so only like selected groups or users can do this. Yeah, so you can have users which got only just like a preview mode in Jira, so they can actually watch it, because I don't know, maybe there is a little bit complex structure. You've got maybe team leader or somebody like this, and yes, it is possible to basically disable that capacity. But okay, again, this is beyond this masterclass. I would like to show you something interesting, because most of the tickets, I can't keep talking tickets, but it is issues. Most of issues are done, and 2 issues are not completed. So what's going to happen if I would like to finish that sprint, but still 2 issues are resolved? Because again, what's going to happen if we reach deadline and some issues are unresolved? So it's a very interesting question, and can happen actually quite often, because, well, this is Agile, this is life. So, the answer is never overdue a sprint. Never overdue the sprint, because you can say, okay, maybe I can, of course, yes, you can go to the edit, change the date, and maybe add 2 or 3 days. Well, occasionally, if you're going to do it, that's okay. That should be fine. But it depends, of course, with your project leader, with the product owner, and a few other factors. But regarding Agile methodology, you're not supposed to do this. So let's see what's going to happen if I want to finish the sprint and still 2 tickets, because as you can see, that all tickets in done columns are crossed. So the resolution's been applied and they are resolved. So what's going to happen if I hit complete sprint? Okay. So basically saying 4 issues were done, 2 issues were incomplete, and I'm going to do complete. Because I think it was not maybe best example I'm going to show again, but normally, because if there was like this as the subtasks, if they are not normal tickets, there will be question what you want to do. You want to push them to the backlog, or you want to push them into the next sprint. So they didn't actually ask me, but normally it should ask me, and should be an option. And there you go. We finish our first sprint, and this is what I was talking to you. That's the burn down chart. So it looks like our actually work was really good. The gray line is our guideline, and the red one is the progress, been actually cut in the middle, but that's fine. So let's gonna go back to Jira. And by the way, I can tell you one more useful thing. My Jira is not configured with Confluence, but if you have a Confluence and it's configured, it's really cool, because you can add notes about sprint. So every time when you have a sprint meeting, every time when you have a retrospective meeting, there will be a question, and you can add very, very cool reports inside Jira. So it's like inside but outside, because Jira and Confluence are integrating in a very, very smooth way. Okay, so looks like our sprint is resolved, but I would like to show you something more. So I'm going to go to the backlog, and now there is no any active sprints. So yeah, I'm going to create one, and I'm going to move a little bit more. So I'm going to create 3 new sprints. And normally before like we're going to start like this, before actually you start adding stuff, adding actually issues into the sprint, you can sort your backlog straight away from here. So as you can see, this is actually drag and drop technology, works very good. Oh, and by the way, this stuff is fully automated. What does it mean? So if your colleague could open the same screen, you don't have to refresh anything. It will actually refresh automatically. So what does it mean? Even if I move and issue to the sprint number 2, this one's going to be okay. Now I want to do it right here. Yep. And here. And like this. No, this one here. And maybe one more. Okay. So as you can see, start planning the work like this. So I've got 3 sprints. If my sprint is 1 week, so easily I've got to work for another month. Okay, this is quite cool. I'm going to also give you one more advice regarding sprint, because this is very important and a lot of people don't know why ignoring it. So my question is, I'm going to answer myself, but when I supposed to start another sprint? Can I wait anything? Or sometimes maybe I can wait day, 2 or 3, or let's see how it's going. No, the answer is you should start the sprint immediately. So basically, when you finish the first sprint, you should start at the same day. So let's just start sprint, and now it's going to be the question: how long I want 1 week. And of course, it's it could be very custom. So you can say 1 week because today is 9th of February, but you can basically select from whenever you want. But as I told you, when first sprint is finished, you should start immediately another one. Well, regarding Agile methodology. So I'm going to go for 1 week, but I don't want it. I don't want actually working with the sprints. I want to go back to the backlog, because look, this is also quite interesting thing when the sprint is ongoing, of course. Yeah, I can change the details, but what's going to happen? Well, it's life, it's Agile. What's going to happen if I want to move new tickets or from another sprint to a sprint which is ongoing? Well, is it possible? Of course, yes, it is. It's Agile, but Jira will warn you. So this is just a very standard warning. Same thing if you do opposite way. So if you're going to move it back, I decided, you know what, this is too much work. This is a little bit too much work for us, guys. Let's just make it life more easy. And I'm going to pull it down. All right. So now again, we can start progressing with the ticket, but I would like to show you that message, which I missed that. So let's let's complete the sprint. Yes. Okay, so this is actually that screen what I told you, and actually was very, very good example, because at the first time, those 2 issues unresolved was subtasks, and Jira cares in a little bit different way about the subtasks. So just please be careful. And yes, this is the good question. So basically, that's what I told you. Well, yes, we have to finish a sprint. It's end of the period. So what to do? And this is the very good question. So we can push it to the backlog, unresolved ticket, or we can push it into another sprint, which I'm going to push it to the sprint number 3, and I'm going to complete. So wow, the burn down chart looks crazy this time, but that's okay. So I'm going to go back again to the backlog, and the third sprint got 2 extra issues, and I'm going to start it again. And again, it's going to be 1 week. Okay, so we covered actually sprints, like the sprints best practice. So I think I'm going to show you now about epics, because we nearly 10 minutes to 9, so we still got a time. So let's actually, I will show you about the epics. What is the epic in Scrum? So actually, Scrum and Kanban actually doesn't have that sophisticated, but especially in Scrum, we've got 2 actually things. We've got epics and versions. So I try to cover maybe all of them, because it is actually very, very, very important. A lot of people miss that. So let's just start from the epics, because that's quite cool. So what, generally speaking, what the epic is, it's like, my definition is, it's a collection of large issues. So it's something between project and something between issue. However, epic is the issue, but epics are very, very special. So let's go back to, if I could hit the create button. So let's actually create our first epic. So how to create epic? It's a very standard procedure. When we're gonna go and hit create issue, we're gonna have a question right here. What type? And by the default, Jira, by the default scheme, Jira offers 4 statuses by the default, which is the story, task bag, and our epic. So story is pretty self-explanatory. It's one like the most often actually story type in issue. And of course, we've got epic. So epic is very special. Why? Because epics don't need to be closed in one sprint. They can go across multiple sprints, but also multiple projects. So this is very cool, and a lot of people using. That's why they're using it. So I can give you some example. If we are software developers, and we are working on the website. So if we have we've worked in a small or large website, but more it's going to work maybe better for a large website. And someone say, you know what, the blog section is ugly. I don't like it. Yep. So basically, this is quite large stuff to do, because we have to do, I don't know what we have to do completely. It depends about the requirements, but probably change images, upgrade content, upgrade CSS and other bits. So it is actually quite large job, but we don't really need to create a project for that. And 1 issue, 2 issues, yes, we can link them together. I don't know, and it could take more than a week, more than 2 weeks. It can take, I don't know, even 2 months. So that's why we've got epics. So this is a really good example. I'm gonna create fix the log section on the website. I'm gonna put the same thing in the summary. I don't really need description, and I'm gonna hit create. And look at this, our first epic is created, and now we have to just link the issues. How to do this? Again, very simple. It's Jira, everything's simple. Just drag them. 1, 2, 3. And look at this. Now we know straight away that issue and that issue and that issue is related to the epic. And of course, we've got a status. Plus, if you don't like the color, I don't like the color, maybe let's do red one. Why not? We've got different colors. But the interesting fact is, you can't see epic on the backlog view. I call it backlog view. But if you go to the issues, yep, it's here. Because epic excuse me, is just like a normal ticket. It's just like ticket. I keep talking ticket. It's like normal, basically normal issue. So let's go back over here. And please remember, epics are located on the left-hand side. However, you can do it manually. You can assign a ticket to an issue. An issue to the epic manually. Just open. Like, let's go to the full screen. And more. Oh God. Oh, it's here, of course. Epic link, and right here you can say fix the block section. Done. And that's it. And as I told you, it is also available for different projects. So don't need to be in. It's not. Well, you can, like, we go to our blank one, and I'm gonna go right here, and I can link it to our epic from completely different projects. This is very, very useful. All right, so I'm gonna switch back to the demo. So yeah, we covered actually epics. I'm gonna show you something not more interesting, but also versions, because versions are also very useful. So versions works very, very well for developers. And we have at the moment, I think 2 or 3. Oh yeah, it is actually 3 versions because it's a sample data. How to create it? Yeah, very simple. Just, yes, he's asking me for project name. I can say version whatever 4. Descriptions I can put. Of course, I can say what's the start date. I can say what's the release date. Let's say it's going to be 28, and I can create. And again, the rule is exactly the same, so we can move them to a selected version. And I think I cannot actually change the colors, but that's all right. Okay, so go back to the sprints. I think I selected too many. Okay, so I think we covered that too. Some clear filters. Let's clear filters. But I would like to show a little bit, because the versions is a little bit more more complex. So of course, we got something like the statuses. The workflow is directly corresponding inside, and how to actually change the statuses inside the version. You don't have to do anything. It is done fully it's a fully automated process. So you just need to go back to the active sprints and drag them. That's how you're changing the version, well, the version statuses. Okay. There are also releases. So if you're gonna click right here, you can put it is actually accepting HTML and TXT modes. So very, very useful. And well, I don't use myself, but a lot of my customers are using, and they work nicely. Okay, I think we covered versions. We covered working with the backlog. We covered epics. I'm just thinking to show you reports right now. So all right, let's do reports. This is actually pretty simple. You can, from the screen, let's go back to the project. Let's go to the reports, which they are located right here. Yeah. And we've got a lot of actually interesting reports. I'm going to go to the switch, and I'm going to show you whole reports. So look at this. My favorite is of course the burn down, but you can select from one of those reports right here. So yeah, let's go for the last 2 weeks, and the scope is increasing. Yeah, and if you don't like it, you can always switch. Maybe, I don't know if there is not that many information because I just created our first epic, but if you've got multiple epics, that information will be provided right here. Okay. So let's maybe go to the dashboard, because dashboard is one of the most important elements, especially if we're talking about the Scrum Masters. If you're a Scrum Master, I'm highly recommending to pre-configure the dashboard, especially if we're working with the Scrum methodology. How to do this? So let's go back to the dashboard. And I'm going to set brand new dashboard. So to do this, create the dashboard. I'm going to call it, well, developers. And I'm going to start from blank one. And this is really important. If you would like to share the dashboard with the group, so I'm basically recommending to unify the dashboard inside your team. But often it's good, if your company is small, yeah, I'm highly recommending to even have something like a pre-configured dashboard for everyone, because it's very, very easy. It's a very easy process to switch between dashboards. But all developers inside the team should have unified dashboards. So you know how many tickets are there, how many tickets are resolved, what is the next sprint, or how many days is left till the end of the sprint. So how to do this again? You can share the dashboard in the group or inside the project. So I'm going to share with a group. The group, let's just share it with the project. I'm going to do demo Scrum. And role is going to be everyone. So don't forget to click the add in the plus button, because often people forgetting about it when they save. I add nothing happening. Okay, so we've got shared with our project Scrum, and I'm going to add. So this is our blank dashboard for developers. And as you can see, there are no gadgets whatsoever. If you don't like the layout, you can change it, maybe like this one, or even go for the full screen. But I'm going to stay with the second option. And now we can start adding new gadgets, because it's actually especially for Scrum one. I'm going to show you a few very cool gadgets. So definitely is the activity stream, definitely assigned to me. And now I'm going to say days remain in a sprint. There are a few more. Pie chart, why not? And burn down. Okay, and that looks good. So, you know, you can drag and drop them. It's just, and now we can start configuring. So I'm going to say what actually sprint burn down is. Demo Scrum board. Show the board name. Maybe not a good example, because that actually but never mind, you know, that's it's even worse. Never mind. Okay, days remaining for the sprint. 0. Okay, not the best example. Oh dear. Yeah, I would like to show something which there you go. So that works much better. Activity sprint, absolutely. Yes, I'm always moving this over here so I can see whole activity. God. And I'm gonna go for the 10 last results. And pie chart, yes, pie chart is very good. Demo. We've got unassigned 12 and 12 are assigned. And there you go. This is actually that's why this is one of the most important thing about the group work. Please configure the dashboard so you can see very clearly how many days remaining, and always experiment, always try to find something like a right solution, and share the dashboard with your team members, so everyone inside the team with the same results. That's very, very, very important. Okay, it was quite intense knowledge to share with you today. I'm just checking my list, what else we can talk about. Yeah, I told you about basically some best practices. So, okay, maybe let's go back to the best practices, because this is very important. Let's go back to the backlog, because this is very, very complex subject, so I cannot cover absolutely every single one. I didn't maybe told you about the story points, which is quite important. So please tell me if you want to know more about the story points. This is how you actually doing time tracking in Jira, and to be honest, the time tracking in Jira is quite crappy. Is maybe not the best. So for that reason, I've got a tempo plugin installed in my Jira, and I'm planning to organize a new masterclass just about the tempo, how to manage time in Jira. Because generally speaking, when you are creating new issue, and it's not going to be it's not going to be epic, but it's going to be a story. So of course, brand new ticket is always landing in a backlog. You can go back over here, and you've got something like a story points. So where is the story points? So estimation, because I think like I said, 5 hours. Let's do 5 just maybe. And there you go. This is actually how you changing the story points. But maybe we can talk about this next time, or maybe you have some more questions, let me know. Regarding best practices, I will also spend a little bit more time configuring the columns. This is where you're gonna spend, if you're just starting, if you're actually preparing Jira for your team. I'm probably I'm always advising to spend more time on this, but don't go too crazy and think if the simplified workflow is gonna work for you. There are also something like the swim lanes and the quick filters and card colors. I'm advising very often to basically put the assignee. So if I'm gonna go back to the board, and as you can see, now we've got a little bit more colors, especially if it's a larger team. That's just like a visualization only. And I'm gonna show you also one more really cool trick. If you're organizing a sprint meetings, yeah, why not? You can basically go over here and print the cards. There is a very, very cool thing in Jira. You can select that option. Now, if you've got a nice printer, just print them out, use the scissors, and put on the board. It's very, very actually useful. A lot of companies doing this, and works for them very well. So, okay, I'm gonna enable chat. So please let me know if you have any questions. Let's just enable chat. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually I didn't actually watch your chat. As I told you, sorry for the presentation of the slideshows. It was just a really few screenshots. I was just flying through them because my main target for today was just to show you best practices on Scrum. It's a kind of, complex stuff. So I'm not, I didn't want to overload you, especially for people who just starting with the Scrum, with the Jira. Okay, so basically, please let me know if you have a question. And of course, I have a Jira consultation, so I'm going to show you the link right now. If you think you need a help or anything like it, please just schedule a call with me. It's a free 30 minutes consultation. We can talk about your issues. I'm going to just point them into the chat room. So, okay, thank you very much. I've got one more. I've got only so far one question to answer. So if you've got more questions, please think. But now I'm going to answer your question. So how to build sprint backlog if one team is working multiple projects at the same time? So ideally you want one word that display all tasks sprint, even if on a different Jira projects. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. You can do that. You can do that. It is actually quite, let's say, it's not very unusual. It's actually quite yeah, it's not that actually difficult to do it. Maybe I'm going to show you. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to show you how to do this. So because it's actually very, very good question. So yes, you can manage multiple projects from one single board. Yes. And even you can manage Scrum and Kanban boards at the same time using one board. So basically the question got like two stages. So first of all, you need to, because as I told you, regarding agile methodology, we can have active only one sprint for a single project, of course. But in the case where we have where we've got two projects, or we're managing using one board, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects, yes, it's absolutely must have. You have to have you have to have a special option, and it is a parallel sprint mode. So you have to go to the project settings, and it is actually I'm not sure. Yeah, I can actually find you later, but it's somewhere in the global permissions. It's yes, it's actually in the global settings. You can have multiple sprints. But okay, I just want to answer your question, because that's the most important. So how to manage multiple projects, multiple sprints using one board? Quite simple. Go to the board configure, and from the general, you've got something like edit filters query. And this is where I'm going to switch into the basic jql, and this is where you can add many projects. So do you remember when I created that demo blank project? Yep, I'm going to do it like this, save it, and the back button doesn't really work. So let's go like this and back right here. So it's not that many actually projects, but MSP is, well, it should show you right here. It should. MSP actually is not showing. Okay. We changed the filter, definitely. So it is actually showing right here in the search results DBP. Yes, it is. So if I demo Scrum TS, okay, so this is actually quite a good mix right now, and it is saved. Yeah, so it's a little bit better now. So, oh yeah, it's actually here, of course. So as you can see right now, I've got 3 projects at this board. So I can manage, I can actually open well, the sprint is just one. I need to go back to the settings, change the settings, and enable parallel mode in sprint for the sprint. And that's how you can manage multiple sprints using one board for multiple projects. So this is the answer of your question. Okay, so please let me know. Do we have another questions? Nope. Okay. 75 minutes. Okay, I think we've got a good time because as I told you, it will be between 60 to 90 minutes. So, okay, if we don't have any more questions, you can always ask me, just send an email, or, just please schedule free consultation.